According to a recent report by Lens Rental, Canon asserted its dominance in the top 20 rented cameras and lenses for 2023. However, despite Canon's stronghold on the rental landscape, the company did experience a notable decline in rental share, relinquishing ground to competitors, Sony and Nikon. But it's also worth noting that Canon isn't alone. What other prominent members lost market share? Well, stick around after this short message for all the details. But first, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest camera news. And for all the minor news stories, all those news stories not quite big enough to have their own separate video, follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. When it comes to rented camera equipment rentals, Canon continues to hold top spot, reaffirming their position as the frontrunner. When it comes to rented camera equipment rentals, Canon continues to hold top spot, reaffirming their position as the frontrunner. The Canon R5 stands out as the most sought-after rented item, with the 28-70 and 70-200 following closely behind. Canon's dominance is evident in the top 10 rented products of 2023. However, despite the first, second, and third positions, Canon experienced a 7.08% decline over 2022. Meanwhile, Sony experienced notable growth, with a 4.81% increase in demand, while Nikon showed a 4.09% improvement. But when it comes to cinema products, industry giants Arri and Red, well, they faced setbacks, with a 12.58% drop in demand for Arri products and a 3.64% decline for Red. Amidst the shifting landscape, Panasonic emerged with notable gains, boasting an 8.5% increase, while Nikon experienced a significant uptick of 12.12%. These results underscore the nuanced changes within the competitive landscape of the camera industry, both rented camera bodies and lenses, highlighting both the resilience of established players and the emergence of some new contenders. So what does all this mean? Well, one thing that is clear from sales numbers is that Canon is still the, dominant player in the industry. They have around 46-47% market share, and I can't wait to see the results for 2023 to see how well Canon's done in relation to Sony and Nikon. Now, Sony has increased their market share to around 26%, a huge jump over the previous year when they were around 22%. So Sony is the upcoming, potentially disruptor here, and we're seeing that in the rental market as well, increasing by around 4%, while Canon lost 7%. So why is this? Now, I know some people will rush to judge and automatically assume it's because, the lack of lenses for the RF mount, the fact that they're enforcing their intellectual property, preventing other third-party lens makers from producing lenses, and this certainly might be having an effect. From all the comments I'm receiving, that certainly it's affecting enough of you that it's probably affecting market share. But also, we need to take a look at Canon's lineup. The 1DX Mark III, that was 4 years ago. The R3, a couple of years ago. The R5, 4 years ago. A lot of Canon's high-end cameras, they're getting a little bit old in the tooth. And not only that, there's an awful lot of talk from this channel and others about the new Canon EOS R5 Mark II coming out this quarter, as well as an announcement, a teaser for the Canon EOS R1, also due out in the first half of 2024. And it's the interest and demand in these lenses that has a lot of people kind of, stepping back a little bit. So I think there are many factors playing into this. Obviously, all the noise around lenses or the lack of lenses or enforcement of IP property, but not just that. If we take a look at Sony, for example, and their E-mount, where they've been producing lenses for longer than the RF mount, we can certainly see that they have a lot more choices. And if you take a look at the data from Lens Rental and also the market share numbers that I've talked about over the past couple of months, what we're seeing is the entry-level cameras such as the R50, the R100, the R7, and the R10, these aren't showing up in the top 10 of various retailers worldwide in terms of sales. So the demand for the lower-end models just isn't there. And one thing I would expect is that when it comes to these entry-level cameras, like when I first started out, most people were perfectly happy with the kit lens and weren't going around purchasing additional lenses. But markets are getting a little bit more savvy, and people are looking at not just the camera body, but the lenses, and the lack of affordable primes and zooms or telephotos within the space could be scaring some people off when, after all, Sony's on the uptick and everybody loves a company on the uptick. You've got more options, more prices, and that could be why that Sony's on the uptick. But as we move here into 2024, things could change. Sony and Nikon have gained ground in 2023, and I think the numbers coming out showing the top 10 cameras sold in 2023 worldwide based on SEPA numbers, well, those are shipped numbers. I really do. I want to see what BCN and others have to say, but I think we're going to see some gains, at least by Nikon, with the Nikon Z8. That camera's done very, very well, and some of their other cameras too. Nikon's been outperforming Canon in many markets. So we'll just have to wait and see, but we are getting a lot of new cameras being announced by all the major camera makers. Obviously, Canon with the R5 Mark II and the R1. Nikon's going to be releasing a couple of cameras, the long-awaited Nikon Z6 Mark III, as well as a supposed spin-off or a variant of the Nikon Z9. And then, of course, Sony, we're getting a couple of cameras. The A9 Mark III is going to start shipping at the end of February. And there's supposed to be another Sony camera or two, probably two more cameras coming out in the first half. And, of course, Panasonic to refresh the S1 series, the S1R, the S1, the S1H. And, well, that's not it. We're going to get a lot of cameras announced in 2024. So I'm really curious to see what the numbers will be like in early 2025. Looking at the sales for 2024, depending on how well the announced cameras, well, get your interest. But it certainly appears that in 2023, at least in the second half of 2023, when it comes to rented products and sold products, the demand for Canon, well, isn't as strong as the demand for Sony and Nikon. How about that? We wouldn't have thought that back in 2022, but the numbers are the numbers. So as more data comes in, I'll be sure to let you know. So don't forget to subscribe and follow me on X. And if you're interested in purchasing any of the gear that I talked about in this video, then please consider using my affiliate links, these ones right here. I also have them down in the description. By using those affiliate links, I do get anywhere from a 2 to 12% commission back, and that really goes to help supporting this channel. All the gear that I purchase, all the gear that I'm planning on purchasing in the next couple of months is thanks to everybody that's used my affiliate links. I get more income from affiliate links than I actually do from YouTube. To be able to purchase the 100 to 500 millimeter, the 200 to 800 millimeter, the R5, the 50 millimeter f1.2, and the list goes on. Thank you so much for everybody that's used my affiliate links. And if you're looking at purchasing anything, again, Amazon, Adorama, B&H, I've got the affiliate links for them down below. Thank you to everybody that's supported me. But as we get ready for the weekend, next week we can start to expect some announcements. We do have a Sony scheduled press event at CES. However, I wouldn't expect to see any groundbreaking announcement. Now, Sony Rumors is saying that we are getting an announcement, but I would expect that to be more towards the end because remember, CES is about all consumer electronics, and Sony is a huge consumer electronics company, so maybe we'll get 5 minutes to talk about their alpha cameras or the cinema cameras, but Sony Rumors is saying that we're supposed to be getting a cinema announcement, so stay tuned for that. But don't be surprised if we get other announcements next week or in the weeks coming because things start, as soon as we hit Monday, things start to heat up. We'll get announcements, we'll get leaked information, we'll get leaked images, all that coming up. So don't forget to subscribe so that way you can stay up to date on the latest camera gear news and rumors. And for all the minor news and rumors, all those videos that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, such as pricing information, then go ahead and follow me on X. But thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a happy new year, and we'll see you again soon.